Hello, hello, super expanders. I have a treat for you today. Sitting with me right now is Susanne Puerschel, one of my very, very favorite humans in this world. She is just simply filled with just nothing but love and light and inspiration for me all of the time. So I'm really excited to share her with you today.
My gosh, Corey, like I can't even, I want to take this in very genuinely and full of love. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I feel so honored and I'm so glad you're doing this podcast.
Well, I feel like literally the pleasure is all mine to be sitting here able to have this conversation with you. So I feel honored and blessed that you said yes to being a guest and coming and sharing your wisdom, your story with us today. Yes. So let's kind of just kick this off with sharing a little bit about who you are and then what you do, because we all know that who you are is not what you do. So tell us a little bit about you, and then we can share and talk a little bit about what you're working on, what your life's work and passion is.
It is such an intriguing question who I am because I'm still learning and I'm still introducing myself to me every single day because I spent so many years pretending to be somebody that I obviously wasn't, to fit into the boxes and to be loved, seen, and heard. So, who am I? Definitely a very passionate individual that is all about love, empowerment, and helping others. Like that lights me up to the point where I would literally forget to feed my kids over that. Um, what else? I am somebody that thrives out in nature, that has a very special relationship to animals. And I love to bunk the system. I think that's part of me too. I love to ask questions and make other people feel uncomfortable when I don't agree. So that's me somewhere, somewhat, but most of all, I'm all about love and
Oh,
being open.
see, we're like twin flames. I love it.
It's a great question, Corey, because you really have to lean into, okay, what am I outside of what I'm doing currently as a job, right? And or for me, it's a blend, but we very seldomly really truly dig into that part of us, that who are we at our core.
Right? Oh my gosh. I know. It's like, because typically it's like, hi, my name's Corey Phelps, and this is what I do. This is
Yeah,
who I
right.
help. This is the transformation that I provide. Right? Because we define ourselves so much by the actual work that we do. I mean, I feel like it's just funny. So we're both in the like personal development arena, and we met in a mastermind. And so I feel like there is kind of a unique piece about people who are coaches, who are in the personal development world. There is, I think, a strong piece of everything that we do that is like we are infused into it differently than just your, I guess, like 9 to 5 career. But I do feel like it's a conversation or a question that isn't really often actually asked of us, right? Who are you?
Right, right. And we can change too. We're not always the same anyways. I think
Absolutely.
that's so important to give yourself the grace around that too.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes today I don't even know who I am. So I think I'm still on that journey, which I'm glad it's what how you led with that. You're like, I was someone who didn't know. Right? See, yeah, I think we all feel that way.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
now that we know the essence of you, let's talk a little bit about what you are working on these days. Let's dive in, because you have a big project, a big dream, a big vision that is coming to fruition, coming to life, and I love it. So
Thank you. How far back can I go? I think I'm just gonna put this really, really compact. I have been a performing artist my entire life. I think the moment I slipped out of my mother's womb, I decided that I have to be a dancer, basically. And that's how I spent 30 years of my life. The first, actually, living that dream. And with that dream came a lot of pain and a lot of questions. And having the privilege to go into corporate America and learn about business over and over and over again and how it really truly works. For me, I always ask the question, why are arts and business such enemies? Why are they never linked together? And I did not have the courage to dive deeper into that until about a year ago, into what could that look like. Am I the person who can actually found something like that? Can I be a CEO of a company that completely restructures how performing arts work in our society? Because it has not changed since the inception of performing arts from way, 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 way back. So that lights me up every single day. So what I'm doing right now, I'm founding a company that will completely restructure and reinvent the digital monetization possibilities for performing arts organizations and performing artists so that they don't have to depend financially on their on-stage revenue only, meaning building several streams of income, Web3 based, so community based, that any kind of pandemic, any kind of economic downfall will not challenge their survival and jeopardize everybody involved's lifestyle. So that is really the mission.
oh, so you're on a mission to change and move the dynamic away from the starving artist and actually have artists be compensated and nourished financially, spiritually, all the things by bringing their life's work and passion to the world. I love that. It's, I mean, oh goodness. I mean, that is a big thing that you're taking on, and for just so many people that need that support, right? I say that my daughter is an artist, and I remember she goes to Parsons in New York City, and I remember when she was applying to schools, and there was definitely a part of me as a parent that was like, is this the right move? Is she going to be able to feed herself? Am I going to be paying for everything for the rest of her days? Or is she taking on her passion and pursuing it at the expense of being able to really earn a solid living through her gifts and talents? And so I feel like it's such an amazing thing that you're doing.
Thank you. And thank you for sharing that insight, because I find it so intriguing that we have adopted this kind of belief in our society, and that is worldwide, that if you do what you love, if you do what you're really passionate about, and an artist never ever steps into the art world unless they can't think of anything else to do, meaning that they have this deep love for their art, that they would do anything possible, meaning also working for free, that has been taken advantage of in many spectrums. But that we have this belief that if you love something, you can't make money with it. And I think we're seeing that in business. We're seeing that in our world. I see this more and more when I step into the startup world, what that belief system looks like, which is completely different. That I think all of us can lean into more of we can have both. It does not need to be a but. We can insert an and. We can do what we love and earn abundantly with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Man, that's funny because that was actually a conversation that I had with my daughter as she went off to college. She went off to Parsons, which is like one of the top art schools in the country. And the one thing it's funny, I was like, I think when you do pursue what you love, you do get to make just exorbitant amounts of money. But what I love about what you're doing is essentially the conversation that I had with her, which was, I am willing to support you in this endeavor in any way possible, but you have to promise me one thing, is that you're going to take a business class. And I made her promise that she was going to, because I'm all in on following your passion. But if you don't know how to turn your passion into a moneymaker, your passion will and can absolutely suck the life out of you, which is the complete opposite, right? So if it ends up being this like a bad relationship, right? Where you're with this person that you absolutely love, but they're not good for you because you haven't learned the skills of like potentially how to communicate with each other, or to like balance out the things that need to be worked on inside of a relationship. And it's the same thing, I think, with art is just being educated on how it is that you can actually monetize.
I'm so glad that you're bringing that up, because the status of an artist in society was for so many centuries, oh, they're just the artist. They don't need to know anything else. And it has been moved on from generation to generation to generation, that even I find that people, it's like, well, why do I need to know how to set boundaries? Negotiating contracts is not even a thing. People are setting their stuff on all social media platforms without knowing how to monetize them. When the pandemic started, I did a little research program on how many ballet companies in the United States and Canada were actually running Facebook ads at any given point. And let me just insert like a Tony Robbins or a Dean Graziosi, they had like 150 million Facebook ads at any given point, open or not open, where I think personally, maybe they wouldn't even have to run these kind of ads anymore, because they're a household name. Arts organizations are not household names, so they have to get out their name a little bit more and build their community a little bit more active. But four companies out of over 250 ran one Facebook ad at one time. So just showing that we're not looking into any kind of business practices, because the industry is so used to receiving funding, and they're putting their power away to other people by begging, and I'm saying that very consciously, begging for money to get a seat on the board, or to put that into their resume, or be written up in the program. Or even expecting the state or the country to fund them because it's arts, you just have to give us, and it's this nowadays, just having one stream of income, having one knowledge. You don't need to know everything, but you should be knowing enough to be dangerous. And I think this elite thinking that the arts have approached at this, oh, I'm in this company, or I have had all of these contracts and I'm secure. It doesn't exist. It's a fake blanket that we adopted. And that blanket can be taken away at any given point. And I think 2020 has shown us so vividly that that blanket is really thin and it's really light, and it can fly away with just the tiniest move of a tree.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Putting into place different ways to become like, it's almost like integrity of your own personal structure,
Yeah.
right? And putting those layers in place. So important.
Corey, I just want to insert something else here. I listened to Jen Gottlieb, the founder of Superconnector Media, the other
Mhm.
day, and she was asked what she's doing and what her company is, and she said all of these things about her business and her tagline and I help statements. And then she said, I've never really said this, but at the core, what we really truly are is a self-development company. And I'm like, ah, which for me was such a relief to hear somebody that I look up to so much. Um, she wouldn't have had the success that she had if she only would have called her a self-development company. But her true why and her North Star was always helping people to become more and more in tune with themselves and really step into their power. And she just found the vehicle to do so. And it gave me permission for Rise Media to do exactly the same. Like at its core, at its heart, at the really, really inside, it is self-development. It is business. It is everything that we need as human beings in order to thrive. We're just going to put it in a different package.
I love that. I love that. We all have to find, I think, the avenue in. I mean, when you really think about it, if you think about like fitness, right? People come for one thing, which is
Yeah.
to train their bodies. But in the end, 90% of trainers are actually training people on the mindset piece. But no one would buy programs from them if you were trying to sell them as mindset programs, because our external environment, the way that our bodies are, a lot of times has to do more with what's going on upstairs, which again essentially just peels it back to personal development, but in a different way, right? So someone comes for aesthetic personal development, but really what they're getting is a the mental layer of personal development. So I love that. And that's really, I mean, I think a lot of things, even product-based businesses are that way too, right? We think that we're buying a cool pair of sneakers, but it's really at its core, it's personal development, or it's taking us, because sometimes we could really dive into this because it might be taking us further away from our own development. But
But isn't it though? And the real core of everything that we're doing is our mindset, right? How to pick apart our thoughts that provoke our emotions that then lead to actions that give us the results that we're seeing in our life. And when we're going and tracing these steps backwards, it starts with what is going on between our two ears.
oh my
Um,
gosh, yeah.
and let's just say in my training, that was never ever something we tapped into. It was all about just the body and the training of the body and the body and the body and how to please everybody else on the outside versus actually going within and understanding that we are creating our own reality. We are attracting what we're thinking, believing, acting, and then that's the result. And I think what's so beautiful, what I'm seeing over the last like 5 years, the more and more I'm learning about it and diving into it, is exactly what I would have needed back then. That piece of how to connect my thoughts to my results, that piece was the difference that I was missing, that had me more and more stand in the core versus on center stage.
Wow, that was a mic drop moment. Which I feel like is like the perfect segue into. So you've had a very, very exciting, big career within the dance world.
Yeah.
I imagine within that landscape, and then also with what you're doing today, you have had some people who've been super expanders for you. I'd love for you to share a story or two about who they have been, how they've impacted you, the why behind why they were expanders, super expanders for you.
So when you first asked that question, I'm like, I don't know. So I was gonna really drop into, I want to say that there have been many small ones. I'm going to pick out the two that have had the most, I would say, impact on actually finding all and I'm including you in that too, because like our relationship, I cherish it so much. I couldn't even have relationship with women not too many years ago.
Feel you on that.
Yeah. So just that point. Okay. So one was when I was in corporate and I was climbing the ladder. It was my boss at that time. We were working on me developing and getting into the next level after managing many stores. And he said one thing to me, and it was like, if you don't believe you can, who else is going to believe you? Like, who else is going to believe in you? And I don't think I really truly understood what he said, but it stayed with me for, well, till today, really, because I remember that conversation. I'm in the room with him right now, having that conversation, and tears just like flowing down my cheeks from somebody that was taught that crying is something that we don't do. So it had such, these few words had such a big impact on me that I always ask myself, so how can I change my belief? Can I just tell myself, oh no, I can do this? But deep down there, I didn't. So how do I do that? And I think the second person that really had the biggest impact on me was Lori Harder. Because I will never, ever forget how I was listening to her podcast. I started somewhere in 2017 listening to her. And I remember so vividly when she was talking about her Bliss Project, making these promises that your life is going to change. These 3 days are going to impact you to the point that you won't even recognize your life. And I remember the feeling that I had when she said it. I'm like, oh, well, that is such a cheap marketing tool. Like, this is turning me off to the point where I skipped the advertisement every single time. Like, it gave me the, I don't even want to, like, almost an embarrassment feeling. Like, don't do this. Like, you don't have to do this. And I was sitting at that weekend with other 500 women, which, by the way, was like the biggest step I had taken in, I don't know, centuries, perhaps. And I got home, and you know how you connect the dots backwards? I think 5 or 6 months later, I looked at my life and it had completely changed. Like, the only thing that was still not even the same, but was my family core, my husband and my kids. But how we interacted had completely changed. How we pursued in business had completely changed. My circle that I had was completely gone. We had moved out of that environment that we were in that wasn't really helping me or us to become more. And that was, I was like, damn, girl, it's true. You're right. I'm sorry. You were right. You are so right. And that was for me. I wanted more. And with getting more, I received more people in my life that some of them are involved in Rise Media. Some of them are dearest friends and soul sisters that I would have never been able to reach or even feel worthy of having relationships with if it wouldn't have been for the Harders. And I'm including Chris there too, because I love that man so dearly.
Oh, yeah. I know. We both share such a fondness and connection with the Harders. So it's so funny. I want to ask you 2 questions about that. One is, so you felt that like about the ad that said that it was going to change your life. And then it turned out that was true. But in that sort of feeling about the ad, you still bought a ticket and you went.
I didn't buy the ticket.
Oh, your
My
husband.
husband bought the ticket and said, "You are going." I was like, "What?" I mean, I was so grateful because I did not have the courage. And I think that that action was one of the biggest gifts he's ever given me, was that he took the kids and I was by myself for 3 days in a row for the first time in, I don't know, 12 years, 13 years.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
you must have been talking about it at home
I'm sure I
then.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Maybe we talked about what would it look like, or he said, "I think you should go," or it's like, "No, I couldn't do that." Like, and I've never done any kind of self-development events before, right? Like I jumped into the deep end. I did not walk in the water. I jumped right in. And I remember being up in my hotel room and I saw all these beautiful women coming in and they were holding themselves like queens, but yet they were so nice and intelligent and kind to each other that I'm like, what is going on here? This is possible. And I was just like, wow, we're going to rewrite my hard drive right here, right now. And I think that was just like the openness and the warmth and the love that I received during those 3 days was something that I always hoped for, but never thought I would deserve.
Ah,
Yeah.
so beautiful. Man, Lori's events definitely have impacted so many women and brought so many women together. I feel like so much gratitude on
Mm.
that end. I feel like it's just amazing the work that she has done and continues to do for women everywhere. She's definitely a hold the door open and encourage you to come through, not just like hold it for you. She's like, come on,
Right?
giddy
Come
up.
with me. I know you can. Yeah. We should have that video part though, Corey. That
Right?
the
So
visual.
good. So your first super expander, that quote or like that statement, it lands so big because I feel like we tend to, all of us, wait for someone to believe in ourselves in order for us to believe in us. And it is so true that there so often, like there, we might become lucky enough that we have one person who sees something like that in us when we're at that place where we're just struggling for validation or proof that we're enough or worthy enough, that they might actually step forward and say something really profound like that changes our perception. And I feel like it was a fortunate thing that you had someone who spoke so candidly and honestly with you, even if it wasn't, I don't know if he said it with love,
Oh, he
or
did.
not. It's
Oh, yeah, totally.
okay.
We had a really, really
I
good.
didn't know if the
Yeah, yeah.
tears were tears of like, or whether he was being kind of like mean. But those are, it's so true, right? Because how can you show up in your full power? How can you show up standing and holding yourself in a way confidently that's going to exude that confidence, that's going to, and when we do show up that way, what happens is people just automatically believe you, right? There's no questions. They don't try to challenge you. They just do. But it's, we spend so much time operating in the other way. And there's so much pain when that's the path that we take.
Mm. You know what just came up for me when you were talking? It was almost like from my inner circle, and having this belief in oneself was almost like a badge of honor to carry. Because the less you talked with confidence about yourself, the more you got attention from your peers, meaning it was, oh, no, you don't have to think this way. Or no, 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 you're okay. Getting a validation through reiterating, oh, that's a really hard word. German girl suffering over here. Like keep repeating the same belief to, to keep on anchoring it in and trusting that, no, I don't believe in myself. Who am I to believe in myself? I could let myself down if it doesn't work out the way I want it to be. So therefore, I just gonna not believe and just lean on other people to do that for me.
Ah, so, so powerful. Mm-mm-mm. So I'm so glad that you had
Oh
these
man.
super expanders to push you and help you grow and lead you closer to your dreams so that you could show up in your power, because you're really creating, you're paving the way for artists in a whole new way. And I have such or nothing but the utmost respect. Trailblazers are literally that they're my people, and I love it. So you're blazing the trail for all performers and artists, and I feel like that the world needs to know more about Rise Media and how they can learn more about it and how they can get involved. So let's talk a little bit about that part.
Okay, well, so how you can like follow and just support is Instagram page under Rise Media. When you tab that, put that in RISE, which actually stands for Reimagine Sustainable Entertainment. You will find the Instagram page. We also are looking to add some more to our beta tester group, because since I really have this vision of performing arts to be not only available to everybody, but everybody's also tapping into each other's powers, meaning we're building a huge community, meaning that the community gets to build the platform and the application on how is this going to work, what is the best and most, oh, the word is missing, the frictionless interaction, so that all you have to do is post your content and you see your dollars coming in because people support you. So we have a sign up on the website under risemedia.group where you can just plug your email address in and we give you updates. And when we're ready, you will have access to this, to the application, and you will have a survey that you can fill out and participate in the creation basically of this new way of operating in the performing arts.
So good. They'll be able to find all of this in the show notes for sure. I wanted to make sure they just knew exactly how and where to find you and get involved.
Thank you, baby.
So something I'd love to know is this time next year, we're going to be
Yes.
having a conversation. We're going to be talking about how Rise Media is not only on the rise, but it is just like taken off like a rocket ship. And I'd love to know, how do you want to feel? Because I've definitely stepped into the idea that if we can choose the feeling we desire to have as our North Star, I think that it really can propel you forward way more than this just goal that we set for ourselves and continuously chase, because feelings are big. Feelings are fuel. So how do you want to feel?
That's how we create, right? How do I want to feel? Okay. So my word for this year is stretch, because I know that I can stretch far more than I have so far. And how do I want to feel? I am seeking peace, peace within me. And let me expand on that. I am so tired of feeling any kind of shame. I am tired of having the story of, oh, I can't do that, or no, this is not for me, or I'm not enough for this and that, and they would never look at me. I am so tired of these stories coming in and up. I am choosing to be free of them. So that is
Mm,
how I want to feel. And I'm not saying that I'm wishing or I want to feel fearless. I want to feel grateful for the fear showing up, like truly without even thinking of it, just being like, my subconscious knows there's fear. Awesome, let's go. Versus, oh no, let me go analyze, you know? Yeah, that's how I want to feel.
that's juicy. I love that so, so much. Yeah, I don't think fearless is actually a thing, right? Fearless, I think fear really is, it's proof that you're dancing on the edge of your next level. You're dancing on the edge of greatness. And once we walk with the fear, we can walk with it is the big piece. It's that duality of being able to stand up tall, take a deep breath, and grab fear by its hand and just like continue to walk forward. And I can feel that. I feel the peace that comes with that. I can see that for you so, so vividly.
Can I just share one more thing that just came in while you were talking?
Yeah.
I have been conditioned over so many years that failure is something you should hide and avoid at any given point in your life. And I mean, I lost my relationship to my mother because of a failure in my life.
Mm,
And I don't want to be afraid of failure or have a story around it. Like I'm actively rewriting the word failure. I am actively talking about the obstacles, failure that have come up in my life so that I don't feel shame around it anymore. And I want to feel not okay, but actually welcoming them without doubting my own worth. It's like, oh, that didn't work. Oh, I did this. I made a wrong turn here. Okay, let's pivot and let's readjust. And it's okay. And not making that as an identity of myself, but releasing that and saying, hey, you're okay. You might be in your 40s, but you're still allowed to learn. It's all right. Like, I don't have to figure it all out.
ah, so true. And I mean, the truth is, if we are not failing, we're not going big enough, right? If you're not
We're
hearing the
also
word
not growing.
no, if you're not falling down, you are staying in your cushy, safe bubble, and we're not doing big things. So
Yeah, we're not doing big things. Exactly.
yes, that that's such a powerful way of thinking about it. And yeah. So one last question as we tie this up in a nice little bow. If you were going to give your younger self any type of advice, what would it be? Because I feel like these things that we would share with our young, the younger version of ourselves, the lessons we have learned, the reason we learn them is for us to share them and help other people potentially grow faster, avoid our experiences. Like our obstacles are the way, right? And we're meant to share them with the world.
Oh gosh. So what would I tell her if she would be listening? And let's assume she's going to sit down and listen with like big eyes and ears. I would tell her two things: that she is enough and deserves everything that she can dream of, and that nothing is too much or too high or too exquisite for you. And I would tell her to stop listening to the outside and go and listen to that gut feeling that she
That
has.
is pure gold and pure wisdom right there for sure. Oh, so so true because we are enough just simply because we're born. We we are enough just because.
Just because, and for some reason, somewhere along the line, we started believing otherwise. And I think we're spending so many years of our adulthood rewriting that story, reparenting ourselves around that, right? And I think it is so important, no matter what kind of an age you are at or in or form of business, it is so important to understand that we don't have to earn our own worthiness, that we have not to earn to be enough and to be deserving of something. I think all we have to do is claim it for ourselves.
Absolutely.
That's what I got. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here today, for sharing your light, your wisdom, for doing the big things in the world that you're doing. You guys need to, Super Expanders, you got to go find her on Instagram at Rise Media. You can just scroll right on down into the show notes and give her a follow and support Rise Media. You are supporting artists and an amazing, amazing cause of the arts and supporting people's dreams and talents and gifts. Such goodness. So thank you. I know you have a very, very busy schedule. So grateful that you were able to carve out some time to chat with us today.
Thank you for having me. I just love talking to you. I could just literally crawl on your bed right now and grab a cup of tea and just shoot the, is this clear? Shoot the balonies with you. Yeah, that would be awesome. Just be respectful.
Oh my gosh. You're so cute.
Okay. Thank you, honey. I love
Mm.
you dearly. Thank you for putting that podcast together. I know from my own experience that that is